Hello and welcome to the big picture. The black money debate has got a new lease of life with fresh expose in the Indian Express of Indian account holders in HSBC's Swiss branch. The new list, which contains 567 new names apart from the 628 names already under investigation by the Supreme Court appointed SIT, has mainly some big corporate leaders, businessmen and some politicians. The Indian Express has claimed that the total balance in the 1,195 Indian accounts as on 2006-07 was 25,420 crores of rupees. The international investigations into the HSBC list have also revealed how the bank had helped rich people across the world evade taxes, apart from helping drug lords, third world dictators, even Saudis who funded Al-Qaeda and other international outlaws to stash money and evade taxes. These new revelations are already having echoes across the world. However, what will be its impact in India, and what is it that we can and should expect from the government and the judiciary which is monitoring these investigations? To discuss this, I have with me Prashant, Bhushan, advocate in the Supreme Court who has been following the issue for some time now, Prof. Arun, Kumar, Center for Economic Studies and Planning, JNU, who has written extensively including a book on black money, Paranjoy, Guha, Thakurta, senior journalist and author, and on the phone line from Hyderabad is S. Narayan, former Revenue and Finance Secretary, Government of India. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Narayan, I would like to come to you first. How important are these revelations?
I think they are very important because they mark actually a first step in the identification. I would say two things. One is that cross-border agreements and cooperation identifying these accounts itself is a very, very major step, and I'm glad that that has happened. And secondly, particular accounts that have been identified, and there's an opportunity for the SIT to actually go into it and investigate these accounts.
Okay. These, for the first time, we are seeing, on an international level, these investigations have been done, and some of the names and some of the things which have come out of these investigations at the international level. How important are they, and how will it affect the banking system?
I think this gives an opportunity to go further and to investigate into the investments made by these people overseas, not just in one bank. We seem to be, the problem is we seem to be pursuing just one bank and one account,
right,
in all the media exposes as well as I think there is much more to this than that, and I think this offers a great opportunity for us to expand investigation into all the other similar kind of investments.
Okay. Please stay on, sir. I'll come back to you. Prashant, Bhushan, as Mr. Narayan rightly pointed out, we have all been talking, the media has been focusing on HSBC accounts. But as he rightly said that, there must be in other banks, other tax havens. Now, how much of that other things have been recognized or investigated, or any attempts made? And more importantly, about these fresh revelations. What do you have to say to that?
No, these revelations only confirm what was known earlier. The problem is that the government is not serious about getting the information about other accounts in other banks and in other countries at all, because they have been saying that we need to modify the double taxation agreements, when it is not necessary to do that at all. There is a UN Convention Against Corruption, which every country has signed, under which every country is required to cooperate with us if we are seeking information about account holders who are holding illicit accounts in their countries. I had written to the Prime Minister in June itself. I had said that what you need to do in order to get this information from other countries is to pass a law requiring every Indian citizen to disclose all their assets held abroad. And that law should say that any assets held abroad which are not disclosed will be deemed to be proceeds of crime and liable to be confiscated under the Money Laundering Act. Once you pass this law and the people disclose their assets and their accounts abroad, then you can go to these countries like Switzerland or Mauritius, etc., and say, look, the following people have disclosed their accounts, these are the accounts, if there are any other Indians who are holding accounts, or if these people are holding accounts beyond what they have disclosed, then please tell us, because those would be proceeds of crime and liable to be confiscated. And under the UN Convention Against Corruption, those countries would have to give us that information. But unfortunately, that step is not being taken. Moreover, I had also said that there are many ways that have been left open by the Indian government for persons holding illicit money abroad to invest their money in India through devices like participatory notes or through FDI from companies which are registered in tax havens. Because in neither of these two cases can you come to know who are the holders of these participatory notes or who are the shareholders in these companies. So I had said that you must pass issue a notification or pass a law to the effect that any investment in India would have to disclose who the person is behind this investment, whether it is participatory notes or FDI from companies registered in tax havens. But none of that is being done either. Therefore, it appears that there is no political will in this government to either track down these accounts or stop the flow of illicit money,
Prashant,
or to recover this money.
Prashant, this list which the Indian Express has come out with, they are saying that there are 567 new names, and the previous 628 names which have already been, which the SIT is already investigating. So you think that these 567 new names, how should the government go about doing this, or what do you think the SIT should be doing?
So the government is saying that firstly they are not officially disclosing these names, not even the names of those persons who have admitted to holding illicit or illegal accounts. Government is saying that we have got them to pay their tax on this amount, but that's not enough. You see, for example, there is this Sandeep Tandon. Sandeep Tandon was an IRS officer who was doing the assessments of Reliance. Thereafter he resigns and joins Reliance, and thereafter he is found to have 200 crores in his Swiss bank account. Obviously these are proceeds of corruption. These are bribes that he has received ostensibly from Reliance Industries and perhaps from others. Therefore, they need to be prosecuted under the Prevention of Corruption
So you are
Act.
saying that just
full criminal investigation needs to be done.
So only
but none
paying
of that
penalty
appears to be happening either.
So only paying penalty is not enough. That's what you're saying. Okay.
Not at all.
Okay,
not at all.
Okay, Professor Arun Kumar. What next? Now this has come, but as we were, Mr. Narayan also was saying, the international ramifications of it. What we are seeing is just the tip of the iceberg. What we are seeing in India. So how will it affect India also in this situation? These revelations which have come out.
See, there are several issues that need to be raised. Firstly, we are only looking at the tip of the iceberg. There are lakhs of people who have taken money out. We're only talking about 1,200 names from the LGT disk and from this HSBC data. Second is that it's a bit of a shame on the government that private journalists in ICIJ and Ritu Sareen from the Indian Express, they could get the names, but the government could not get the names. The government should have got these names from the French government.
You don't think the government had these names so far?
Well, they haven't given it to SIT. They've only given 627 names. So it's a bit of a shame that the government should not have been able to get these names directly from the French government or from the journalist who said, and the journalist already said that only 1% of the names have come out. So 99% names still have to come out. So 100 times more names had to come out, and the government did not take any steps. This data was revealed in 2010 to the government. It's 5 years since then. So what has the government been doing? Secondly, HSBC has been acting as a...
Now we are told that the finance minister has said that we will release the names of 60 people.
That's not the point. That's not the point. Point is, why did you not proactively get the other names and start prosecution? Why did you have to wait for 4 to 5 years? And therefore, both UPA government and NDA government get indicted that they did not get these names. Secondly, HSBC, which was acting as a Hawala operator, why was it not prosecuted till now? 5 years have gone by.
Exactly.
And many other multinational banks do exactly the same practice. That's also well known. So why has the government not been doing that? If the government had wanted to solve the problem, it could have done so, and much faster than what it has done. It didn't even have to wait for SIT and for the Supreme Court to put pressure on it for it to start acting. So actually the intentions of the government, whether UPA or NDA, both are suspect in all this. Now the international ramifications, the government keeps saying that, after all, there are NRIs, there are those who've got income tax accounts, etc., and therefore they cannot get money. But what is clear is HSBC, all the data that has come out from the Guardian and others which has been published, says that drug dealers, dictators, politicians, all the dirty money, and how the HSBC was proactively getting this dirty money. Now, prosecution can take place in the US. Credit Suisse has been fined $2.5 billion. HSBC itself was fined $2 billion several years back in the USA. But India, nothing is happening. UBS Bank, which was caught in the US and had to pay a fine of $780 million. Nothing has been done about the UBS Bank here. So government has not been proactive at all. Okay, it's a political question.
Okay, it's a political question. Paranjoy, you can say, but I have an additional question.
Yes.
25,000, the Indian Express claims that, these 1,200 accounts approximately have something like 25,420 crores. How much of this is recoverable? And it also says, the government has also been saying that government as well as the report also says that some of them may be legal accounts.
Okay. So the short answer to your question is probably little or nothing of this would be recoverable. This is the money that existed 7 years ago. That money is probably not there anymore. But some of that money may have been laundered, some of the money may have been spent, and some of the money, as you rightly pointed out, may not be illegal. Now, there are 2 or 3 things significant to what has happened now. First, as Professor Arun Kumar rightly pointed out, it was not the government, but it was a consortium of journalists.
Right.
And mind you, it's very interesting. We have somewhere in the region over 140 journalists spread across 45 countries who agreed that on the 9th of February that was embargo, and so that
Paranjoy, I think I need to go to Mr. Narayan because he has to go. I want to get him before. Mr. Narayan? Okay, we will get back. Yes, continue.
Okay. So the first thing is, it's a group of journalists who have taken the initiative to expose these things. That's very
sorry, Paranjoy. Mr. Narayan, I hope you heard what Professor Arun Kumar said and what Prashant Bhushan said. In the context of what they said, you think that the government has done enough, and what do you think the government needs to do now?
No, I think this is the, as very correctly put, this is the beginning of a very big investigation, because we're going on and on about these particular accounts. I think it's very important to really look at all the other countries and all the other balances that are available. And I think one needs to go about it in a wholehearted manner. But the problem is finally that to establish the nexus of criminality is not going to be particularly easy. So I would think that there is I would simply say that there's a great opportunity to expand this to cover all other banks. That's what I would say.
Mr. Narayan, one of the points made by Prashant Bhushan is that, some of these accounts where the government has said that they have found illegality and they have been fined and taxes have been raised, demand for taxes has been raised and some have been collected also. Is it enough for these people who have held these illegal accounts?
That is a matter of opinion and, in a matter of law. You can't simply come to a conclusion that something is criminal. Criminality has to be proved in law, and criminality has to be established under Indian laws. So that is an area which I am not an expert. I am not a legal person there.
But you think that penalizing them with penalty on the tax which they need to pay and all that, is that enough, or should there be legal?
No, I would say where there is criminality, it should be pursued. But to presume that every action is criminal is also not right.
No, we are not presuming anything like that, sir. Another thing is, before I leave...
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
Absolutely. Before I let you go, Mr. Narayan, what next the government should do? Specifically, the government of India now says that, they will release name of 60 individuals whose names they have. And another thing is that the questions raised by Professor Arun Kumar. Why is it that the government has not been able to procure these names and it had to come on the journalists to have done? No, you think, no, my question is, could the government have got these names?
No, that again is a question that I would not be able to answer. But I would say that the SIT which is looking at it works within the framework of the tax laws.
Okay.
And within the framework of the tax laws, they have to make the inquiries. Whether the tax laws are adequate or strong enough to make these inquiries is the comment that Prashant Bhushan Saab has made.
Right. No, another thing he said was that, the government says that there is that double taxation.
No, he said you need an enactment of some law.
Right. No, but also what about he also spoke about UN convention which allows the government to have sought details of all these things.
There it's a UN convention on corruption.
Right.
So you have to establish that.
Okay, sir. Thanks for joining us. Yes, Paranjoy.
Let me add a few points to the points that have been made. Now, this information really came into the public, entered the public domain when a self-styled whistleblower, a former employee of HSBC in Geneva, his name is Herr Falciani, he was a computer systems engineer, he walked away in 2008 with data containing the names of somewhere in the region of 130,000 account holders.
Right.
Now again, it's nobody's case that everybody is a criminal, no. But what is happening is, the French government parted with some of this information, but the question, as Professor Arun Kumar rightly pointed out, why did we have to have this operation mounted by over 140 journalists spread about 45 countries, papers from The Guardian to the BBC to Le Monde, to finally come out with this information? Right? And what does this information reveal? One minute. This information has sparked off tax investigations across the world. Argentina, France, Belgium, Greece, Israel, India, and even from the US. There is pressure on the Obama administration to change the law and impose taxes on all transactions that American companies make, a kind of a mandatory tax on companies' earnings which are held overseas. Now, one more. Let's look at the people involved. It's truly amazing. You mentioned about the Saudi Arabian, people who had allegedly funded Al-Qaeda. I mean, look at some of these guys. I mean, they are royal families, they are convicted cocaine dealers, they are shady ambassadors, they are terrorists, they are entertainers, they are elected officials, they are corporate websites, they are athletes. The former dictator of Haiti.
But Indian doesn't contain any such people. They're all politicians.
No, let's hear the
very few politicians, actually, more of businessmen and
First, the big names abroad. Baby Doc Duvalier of Haiti.
Yes.
He fled his own country after embezzling hundreds of dollars. Pop singer David Bowie.
That's 5 minutes.
Oligarchs of Russia. Wait. Give me 1 more minute. Girish, let's look at the Indian names.
Indian names.
Mr. Mukesh Ambani, Mr.
Yes.
Anil Ambani, Mr. Anandchand Barman of
These are all names
Mr. Rajan Nanda.
No, these are all names which actually Prashant Bhushan and Arun come out with.
Yashovardhan Birla, Mr. Raheja, Mr. Dattaraj Salgaonkar, Mr. Shravan Gupta of MRMGF. Look, there are NRIs, of course. They may be legal. Swaraj Paul, Manu Chabria's family, Ruya family, Naresh Goyal of Jet Airways. But what about the Indian guys? What about the new Indian names? Hello, Preneet Kaur, former Minister of State for Foreign
This name also had come out in the past.
Miss Anu Tandon.
All these had come out in the past.
Yes, 1 minute.
Yes.
Narayan Rane's family.
Yes.
His wife and his son. The wife and the family members of the late Congress Minister Vasant Sathe. Bal Thackeray's daughter-in-law, Smita Thackeray. These are new names.
Prashant, are these new names? First of all, because some of the names which is published in the Indian Express today and which Paranjoy is talking about, these are all some of the names which, when you people came out with this list in a couple of years ago, you spoke about this. But has any action been taken against any of them according to your information?
We don't know what action has been taken. What the government is saying is, and what the Ambanis were saying was that they have paid the taxes on this amount.
Yes.
But as I said, you need to find out whether this money has been siphoned out of their companies, and if so, they are liable for offences under the Companies Act, they are liable for cheating their shareholders, etc. What about that action?
Prashant, my question, no, exactly. Prashant, my question.
Is there any investigation being done?
No, Prashant, sorry.
On how this money...
Prashant, my question is this exactly. The SIT, what is it that the SIT is supposed to do? What is the frame of reference as far as the SIT is concerned? Don't they have to look into all these things which you are talking about?
No, the SIT also has to look at those things, but the SIT is being largely assisted by these various government officials. Primary responsibility is of the government. The SIT has been formed by the Supreme Court only because the Supreme Court found that the government was not taking any action. But that does not mean that the government should sit with their hand on hand and not do anything and say that the SIT will take action. I mean, it's the job of the government to prosecute these people, to investigate how they have got this money in order to find out about other banks, other countries, other tax havens, etc.
Are you trying to say
which Indians are holding accounts there?
No, Prashant, Prashant, are you trying to say that now that the Supreme Court has set up this SIT and it is monitoring this SIT, the government has left it to the SIT to do all the investigations, it is not doing anything on its own? Is that what you are trying to say?
So the government is supposed to be assisting the SIT, but so far as I know, the government is not taking any proactive steps. As I said, you see, they need to do three things at the very minimum. Stop the participatory notes or anonymous sources of investment which are being invested in the stock market, which is allowing laundering of illicit money and investing that money right here in this country. Then also to ensure that anonymous money doesn't come from companies registered in tax havens, that the country should know as to who this money belongs to. Also this law which requires every Indian citizen to declare their assets abroad, and any assets which remain undeclared shall be deemed by law to be proceeds of crime and liable for confiscation under the Money Laundering Act.
Okay.
Why is this not being done?
Yes, Prashant Kumar.
You know, I'd like to add to what Prashant is saying. SIT could also be proactive. It has been well known, SIT has also heard it, that there are a large number of other names that have not come out. For instance, WikiLeaks, they have all the Swiss banking data, but they're not able to release that data because of the threat to the person who had stolen the data and give it into the WikiLeaks chairperson, right? So the government of India could have approached WikiLeaks chairperson to get that data. So that data would have contained, a few 100,000 names. Secondly, in this list that has come out, the largest amount of depositors were from Switzerland itself. The second largest were from UK.
Yeah, right.
And there also there may be many Indian names, because after all, Indians recycle their money through the process of layering through the various tax havens, and the British have the largest number of tax havens. So government should be proactive, SIT should be proactive in trying to get those names also in addition to these 1200 names. But what I find is that neither the SIT is proactive. The judges who are heading the SIT, they should have been proactive in the last 6 months since the SIT was set up to try and get this list. The BVI, the British Virgin Island list, is available. 600 names are there of Indians, but there's been no proactive dealing with that either from the Ministry of Finance or from the SIT. So I think the problem lies in both. SIT has not been doing what it should be doing, and the Ministry of Finance is not being proactive in trying to get more lists and more names of people who have accounts abroad.
Yes,
I think the key issue that Professor Arun Kumar and Prashant Bhushan are flagging is that does this government have the political will to take action against some very, very powerful and very, very wealthy and influential individuals?
The government says that we are taking action, we have given notices.
And 1 minute, what I'm saying, Girish, these individuals have probably contributed generously to the coffers of these political parties. One more point. Will they appoint officers of integrity to investigate? Will they be given the autonomy and the freedom to lift that corporate veil? Will they be allowed? I'll give you one example. Prashant mentioned participatory notes. This loophole has been deliberately left in the law to make it extremely difficult for the authorities to ascertain the beneficial owners of companies and the real owners of funds. Now, in the case of the Securities and Exchange Board of India, the Reserve Bank of India, many of them don't have the capability. When they have the capability, they don't have the capability or the competence. They are also are not people of integrity. So, will you establish that audit trail? Will you look at round tripping? Will you look at how that money has moved from one place to the other? Look at this list. It's a virtual who's who.
Who's who?
Okay. Will you take action?
Who's who of business in India?
Do you have the political will to take these investigations forward to their logical conclusion? This is the question.
Is it just political will, or is it also the question of these can be very complicated investigations also?
While that is true, but if all the information that is coming out in the Guardian, Washington Post, etc., as we believe, there are a lot of supplementary information that has also come out which could be used to establish criminality. HSBC itself has been shown to be involved in criminality because they've directly been asking these people to deposit, and they're promising secrecy, that this information would not be revealed. Second point I want to make is that information is private but not public. All the politicians and the bureaucrats and the businessmen who are using Hawala, who are using these private information, but that's not used publicly. So this public information, this information which has been private is becoming public now through the agency of these journalists. Why could the government not do that?
One small point, yes, Girish. All along, the Swiss were saying that we can't take action on the basis of information because it has been stolen. It's stolen information and Swiss law. Today, I can tell you what Mr. Arun Jaitley is saying. He said he went to Davos. He met the finance minister, the economy minister of Switzerland and their officials, and he said there are cases in which people have admitted holding accounts. So he said the question arose whether admission by an assessee will be regarded as an additional evidence, to which the Swiss government said it would be regarded as evidence. Now all these cases, penalty and prosecution is one way.
So now that excludes
Mr. Jaitley. He says penalty and prosecution is one way of convicting the account holders and taking the amount back from them. That process is now on. He's saying this. Will it happen?
I will wait his word for it. We will take his word for it. We'll have to wait for that. But there's a larger issue. Very quickly, Prashant, my question is that the HSBC bank, which is involved in all these things, no action has been taken in India, or can any action be taken at all? Because all these accounts are held in Switzerland. How can action be taken against the bank in India?
No, it was these Indian officials who had come. We had submitted the statements of these people whose accounts were found, and they said that Indian officials of HSBC bank came to them, took cash from them and deposited, and then the money was deposited in their accounts in Switzerland. So therefore, it was the HSBC officials here who were involved in all this. So the government can certainly take action against the HSBC bank, but they are dilly-dallying for obvious reasons, because they know that if they start taking action against HSBC, further dirty linen will also spill out, and the government appears to be wanting to protect or minimize the damage due to these revelations and ensure that there will be no further revelations of this kind.
Okay, Prashant.
This appears to be the intent of this government, unfortunately.
I hope it is not the intent. I hope we will see more action being taken, as Professor Arun Kumar says, that more proactive action we will be seeing from the government as well as the SIT and the courts. But these revelations are quite phenomenal, and there will be more revelations, as the Indian Express has pointed out today. We will wait and watch what they are and what kind of implications they will have on India as well as other countries in the world. Thanks to all my guests, Mr. Narayan, who had joined us earlier, Prashant, Bhushan, Paranjoy and Professor Arun Kumar. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue in the big picture on Wednesday. Tomorrow, the whole day, the elections, the results of the Delhi Assembly will be here. Please keep watching.